This example is a little bit more involved of word problem. And so we're given that Acme Company has seen a decline in sales of their product. And we're given some data that in 2010, they sold 28.4 million items. And in 2016, they sold 22.7 million. So part A is to find a formula as a linear function. So that, again, different phrasing that we're expecting a formula for a line. And so we are given sales as a linear function of years. So we're looking for something like this, sales in years. So this tells us we're looking at points, T comma number of sold. And T is since 2010. And so we're given 2 points, 2 data points. In 2010, which is actually T equaling 0, the sales were 28.4 million. And a lot of times we might have just 28.4 with units being million, because having all the zeros for writing 28,400,000 would get really tedious. And then our other point was in 2016, which is 6 years later, 6 years since 2010. They sold 22.7 million. And so those are our 2 data points. And so they want a linear function. We have 2 points on the line. Like I said before, the numbers aren't always going to look nice. In this case, they aren't as nice as our first example. And so we need to find what the slope is between them. The slope, change in y's over change in x's. And so I'm going to write it this way, 22.7 minus 28.4 over 6 minus 0. And that ends up being negative 5.7 over 6, which with some scrap paper or some technology, we have negative 0.95. Whoops, can't read that very well. So that's our slope. The good news is they gave us the y-intercept. This is our y-intercept. So this tells us that our sales for part A, as a function of T being number of years since 2010, would be negative 0.95 T plus 28.4. You can always check your work. If you plug in 0, do you get that? And if you plug in 6 with the calculator, you should get 22.7. Now, part B is we're asked to predict the sales with this linear model, linear function, predict the sales in 2019. So for part B, we're actually looking at 2019. We're going to use T equals 9. Be careful about that. And so when we plug this in, we're going to have negative 0.95 times 9 plus 28.4. Being very careful with our calculations, lots of scratch paper or calculator, we get 19.85. So what is this number? This means 19.85 million. We are expected to be sold in 2019.